Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday Night Live. So, as you've seen in the caption and the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about subconscious loops and breaking the cycle. So, hello, everybody here on TikTok as well. So, as we know, when stuff is going on in our life, we can probably feel like, oh my God, why is this happening? But if we were to reflect for a moment, we can see this is probably not the first time we've ever felt this way. This is probably happened in other areas of life before. This has happened in other relationships before. This has played out once again. And, it's very easy to see these things when it comes to money, relationships, but there's actually a lot more subconscious loops that we could be getting stuck in. So, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. As you guys know, I have a Substack, which is my membership platform where once a month we do a live hypnosis, a group hypnosis. And I haven't really talked about this much on my Tuesday Night Live in general. But the reason that I'm bringing it up is because this Sunday, that is our topic, is breaking psychological loops. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but I already put out a free worksheet. So let's look at that worksheet. I'm going to pull it up here and we'll take a moment to go over some of these things together. Okay. Is it up? Yeah. Okay. So, hello. These are not as bad as the technical difficulties that I used to have on the Tuesday Night Live for those of you who've been here a long time. Okay. So, as we know, the patterns in our life are not random, they're part of our internal blueprint. And that happened from our subconscious programming. The subconscious programming can come from mostly from childhood. They say that majority of it happens by the age of 7. And we've all heard this saying, kids are like sponges, kids are like sponges. But then what happens with all of that stuff that you soak up? That sponge dries out and all that bacteria, all that stuff is still in it. So either consciously or unconsciously, we are still living out these things that we've lived, that we've believed and picked up along the way. That can be from parents, society, experiences, things that we saw either in school, socially, siblings, things that were just said around us. Like that whole thing that like kids are a sponge is could not be truer. But now we're all grown up kids and we've absorbed all this stuff and we're a much bigger sponge, but all the same stuff is still in it. So we're going to talk about clearing out those outdated patterns. So what is one frustrating pattern that keeps repeating in your life? How does it show up in different areas? So I'm going to give a list of a whole bunch of things. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everybody. It's hard to deprogram when you were too young to remember. Right. How does deja vu fit in? It's interesting that you asked that question is sometimes we have like a version of deja vu. Like, is it real deja vu or is it actually, sometimes we have deja vu in actions. Sometimes the same thing happens in all of our relationships. I mean, I've talked a bunch of times, this cycle that thankfully is done now in my life. But as you know, I got cheated on in every single relationship. And that was like a ruthless cycle, but that was also what I grew up seeing you know? And that was my ruthless cycle. Other people could have an abusive partner. Other people could have a partner where they have to parent them and they have to go into the mom role. Or maybe there's a user taker situation. There's many different, and it's very easy to see relationship patterns. I do have some notes on them where sometimes it's like almost like deja vu because we're dating the same person in different masks, in different faces. And it's the same thing being reflected back to us all the time. And when you're in it and when you're getting your heart broken or screwed over, those things, it's easy to look and be like, God, everybody's so messed up. This is so terrible. Why does this keep happening to me? I'm a good person. I don't deserve this. Not to be harsh. Okay, you don't deserve it, but subconsciously you believe you do, right? And that's a very hard pill to swallow. And you guys know when I talked about my shadow work journey, when I was in it, when I was hanging on for dear life on some of these Tuesday night lives last year, I came to a lot of those realizations and realized, why was I with emotionally unavailable people? I was emotionally unavailable. I mean, duh. Okay. Why was I ending up with people who could not be faithful? Now, sometimes it plays out on two different sides of the coin, right? Sometimes it's the exact thing, but sometimes it's another representation of the thing. Sometimes it's kind of like if you think about something playing out in a feminine and masculine role, whether it's men or women, but we live in this duality. So sometimes it's going to play out in a more active way. Sometimes it's going to be in the receptive way, which is what I talk about with the empath and the narcissist, where people continuously date narcissists and they're like, well, I'm not a narcissist. How am I attracting this? I'm not attracting what I am. I would never do that to people. But when we go back to the root, they have the same pain, the same trauma is that they did not have their needs met. And some people go through people pleasing, and some people go through, I'm going to take what I need to get in order to survive, or I'm going to please people in order to survive, to be useful, to be helpful. And then those people will eventually come and meet again. And then you could get a restraining order, put them in jail. And another one will come back in, and another one will come back in. And it continues to play out. So let's talk about some other types of loops, though, because relationship loops are very easy to see. So let's talk about some of these other things that we might not realize are unconscious beliefs. Nothing works out for me. You ever hear people say that? Like, nothing works out for me. Oh, this always happens. This happens to me every time. These are like, if you ever find yourself saying, this happens to me every time, catch yourself and say, do I really believe this? And how is this playing out in my life? Another subconscious loop that you guys might not think of when you're asked this question on the worksheet is second guessing. Are you someone who always second guesses yourself? That is like a really crazy loop, right? To be second guessing yourself to say like, "Oh, I want to do this. No, 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 maybe I should do this instead." And it could be something small. And I always give the example to people like start taking the power back in small ways. If you're someone who second guesses yourself a lot or overthinks your way out of something, then do it in a simple way, like clean your house. Because I mean, people who second guess themselves will be like, I'm going to clean my house. I'm going to do the laundry. No, maybe I should do this first. You know what? Actually, I should clean the bathroom so that I can take the towels and then put them in the laundry and then I'll do laundry. Just do what you said you were going to do and just pick one. And that is like, one way to break these cycles is to just start doing the thing. If it's something like that, like just start. Okay. Another thing that connects to this that I know a lot of people in this community, spiritual community have is not believing that they're ready. This comes up in like most of my hypnosis sessions in one way or another is that they're not ready. So they have a calling, they have a purpose in life, and time again, people are like, yeah, but why would anybody listen to me? Why should I be the one to say it? There's people who are more qualified than me. Why would anybody listen to someone like me? I don't know anything. I just like, and guess what? There's some narcissist with the same fucking wound as you who says, why not me? And is teaching half-assed, stupid ass broken news anyway. Like they're doing it anyway. Or regurgitating a bunch of old stuff that's already been said 100 times. So you are ready. You're ready right now. If you want to do it, you're ready. Okay. Waiting for the right time is another one. So, like, ooh, is it the right time? Maybe if all the things line up perfectly, then it'll be the right time. Another one that's connected to this is learning, but never applying. Like, I have a couple of friends like this that they will go and do the training for something and then be like, actually, I think I'm going to do something else instead, and then do another training. And then they don't apply what they've learned. Then they do another training and another training and another training. It's beautiful to be a student for life, right? Like being a student for life is a wonderful thing to do. We all need to stay students for life. But how many certifications, how many courses, how many modalities, how many healings, how many this, how many that, before you actually do the thing that is burning inside of you that you know you need to do? You said, "Here I am." Okay. Another thing is this is one that I have, and I do finish things, and people when I get it from outside noise, outside people, they perceive me differently than I perceive myself in this way. But I am someone who starts a lot of stuff and doesn't finish. And it is so frustrating. And I hate being this way. It's painful to be this way, to have, you know, my creative projects are the equivalent to the 750 open tabs on my phone. And I have 2 browsers. The other one has like 1,500 tabs open. That is the equivalent of my creative projects. And what is that? What is the core of these things? Right? It was you talking about this that pushed me to get out today and get paid to talk about eating flowers for your garden club. Oh, good for you, Whitney. Good for you. Natasha, you are so guilty of this. Like, calling you out right now. You don't have anything to say because others have said it all. Yes, I am calling you out on that. You know, I've been pushing you to post more and putting yourself out there. Look at you too, Aunt B. You feel attacked. This is it. Like, this is it. Okay. So we'll go over some more of these, but then I'm going to talk about what the structure is of like what I'm going to be doing um, with these Substack classes because, you know, I know a lot of you guys are subscribed to the Substack, but what I wanted to do was something different and do a 10-month program because there's 10 months left in the year. So instead of kind of me month by month, like doing whatever I feel like is what's calling me that month, we're going to do the monthly hypnosis for the membership, building upon each other. So this first one is, oh, thank you. You said the Substack lives are so valuable. Highly recommend. Thank you. And so I want it to build upon each other. So what we're starting with is like, let's get in the mud. Let's get dirty. Let's get to these little annoying things that are keeping us stuck. So month 1, which is this Sunday, last Sunday of each month, we do a live hypnosis. There will be some when I'm traveling and I'll have those pre-recorded. The pre-recorded ones are really nice quality too because it's not streaming Zoom quality, but I like the energy of being live. So we do that still. Okay, so let's get back to some of these limiting beliefs, and then we're going to go over the structure of this is a 4 steps over the course of 10 months, and each month we're building. So then by 2026, all of this stuff is cleared. All of this stuff has been dealt with. We've dealt with the mind, the subconscious mind, the body, the manifestation, the soul stuff, the karmic stuff. So it's all going to build on each other. But let's still answer this question because I know a lot of us have more subconscious loops that are playing out. Okay, relationship ones, which we already talked about. Dating unavailable people, dating the same person, always ending up the same way. The I can fix them. You know, we know that this is like a big one, right? Is like a lot of times people date people who are like super messed up. Not that super messed up people don't deserve love, and they do. And people are worthy of love exactly as they are. But there's a lot of people who are dating those people for the wrong reasons because they want to fix someone. Why do they want to fix someone? Because they find value in being needed, in being helpful. They only see themselves as valuable if they're helping other people. They don't have a regular sense of value on their own. Like I said, the parent child dynamic, where maybe people end up in relationships where they're like always dating their dad or their mom, or they become the dad or the mom. And that maybe doesn't play out. Like, if it plays out in all of your relationships or some of your relationships, I have had that play out in a relationship before, but I more so think it was that person's issue, and I was having my other issues that were playing out because then he cheated. So, I mean, we both had our sometimes 2 loops will be 2 different loops and still teach each other a lesson, you know? So, sometimes we date people who bring up our, like, deepest insecurities, you know? And, of course, it's normal to have your insecurities, uh, come up. when you're very intimate with someone. But does this happen all the time in all relationships? Oh, yeah. Jackie says, sabotaging your worthiness to find functional love. Yes, that's a good one. I mean, a bad one, but a good one on the list of things that we're coming up with here. Yeah. Like dating someone who is maybe, just to be loved, right? Just so you feel that you are loved or in a relationship, dating anyone, just to date, just to be with someone, just to not be alone, or dating someone below you, of course, we mean below. No one is below or above anyone, but sometimes there's people that we shouldn't be dating because we want more in our life. But we'll do that for some reason from feeling unworthy. Okay, sometimes the ghosting thing, right? The ghosting thing is a pattern that people experience and then blaming themselves for it. And then being like, "Oh, it's something that I've done. It's, you know, I'm like people run away from me. People leave me." And or maybe, you know, you're picking people who it's not really aligned and was putting a square peg in a round hole. Okay, talk about some money ones. Money issues, money subconscious beliefs and loops. Living paycheck to paycheck. Sabotaging opportunities. I know we all know someone like this. We all know someone who sabotages every opportunity that comes their way. Mhm. Oh, yeah, the fixing one is like being a foster parent for a significant other. And yeah, Natasha, you're right. Don't forget to like the live. Okay, so um always feeling behind, always feeling like you're just going to get by with money. Here's a big one. Feeling scarcity even when you're making enough money. So there's a lot of people like that. Like I've noticed that a lot in, this spiritual work. There's a lot of times like people that like they are doing like so fine. Like they are doing totally good. Like sometimes I'll have like friends that they're like, "Oh yeah, like I own this property or this." And then they're like, "But I got no money." And I'm like, "You got no money? Well, shit. Then I'm probably next to homeless." Because what? So like there's people who even when they have money and even when they have abundance or even when they're making enough, they're so programmed into a subconscious loop of scarcity that's not even true, but they're perceiving their reality in that way. If someone from the outside is like, "You're killing it. What are you talking about?" Okay, let's talk about some self-worth loops and wounds, okay? Playing small to make other people comfortable. Not to call you guys out, but I know a lot of you are doing this. A lot of you are playing small so other people can feel comfortable. And you're not. You're putting a disservice to yourself and you're putting a disservice to them. Nicole says that's me. Um, so like that is one of the things that it seems virtuous. It seems like a good thing to do, but it's actually terrible because when you grow and you strive, you force other people around you to strive. You force other people to level up when you're leveling up. Or sometimes you're the example of like, wow, look, you know, Whitney did it, Donna did it, Andrew did it, I can do it. So, in those situations, you feel like you're making them comfortable. You're making all of you guys uncomfortable. Everybody's uncomfortable because you're playing small. Because you might be that person who's meant to overcome that so that you can actually be the leader. A lot of people who play small, a lot of times under hypnosis, when we ask their higher self, like, what are they supposed to learn? What is their biggest lesson in this life? So often it is to be a leader, to teach others, to help others, to show the way. Now, a lot of times, and we are going to talk about this more in the class on Sunday because we're doing a group hypnosis, but when we do the one-on-one QHHT, so often, almost every time when people want to ask the question, what is my biggest lesson in this lifetime? Which is what I have on my list. Like when you book it, I give a list of 60 example questions. I also have a video on YouTube that tells you example questions too. So even if you end up going with like some other practitioner, you could still watch that video and look at the 60 questions that I wrote. But one that's important is, what is the most important lessons I'm meant to learn in this life? It is almost always this pattern. So, like, a lot of times, someone who's dealt with so much, like, rejection has the lesson to overcome rejection. Like, it's so like, a lot of times, these are the lessons of your life. It's not always the purpose. Sometimes it's connected to the purpose, but sometimes it's just the greatest lesson. Yeah, true. Okay, so, how about being helpful? How some people only see themselves as valuable if they're helpful, or only see themselves as valuable if they're achieving. So if I'm winning, if I'm successful, if I'm achieving, if I get a lot of money, if I get a lot of awards, if I win everything, then I'll be worth enough. Then I'll be valuable. Then I'll be worthy of love. I just need to make this amount of money before I can be loved. I just need to lose this amount of weight before I'm worthy of love. I just need to figure out my life before I'm worthy of love. Thank you, Andrew. Take my smiles on loop. Um, what is my Substack name? So it's Jennifer Carmody, CARMODY.substack.com. And we're also streaming here on YouTube. So I'm going to pull up the Substack and we'll go over some of the old ones that we've done too, because when you become a member, you get to watch all of the old ones too. And we have a whole year of old hypnosis well, not old, juicy, valuable, wonderful hypnosis that you can play back and do. And some of those are the Dolores Cannon group hypnosis. So we'll go over those too. How about feeling invisible? Everybody overlooks me. Everybody talks over me. I must be just too small. Like, sometimes short people have this. Sometimes they're like, oh, nobody sees me in a crowd. Everybody overlooks me. I get in everybody's way because they don't even notice that I'm there. We don't want to fucking live this way anymore. Like, this is sickening. Who the fuck wants to keep living this way? It's a nightmare. I feel sick going over these. Okay. How about this one is juicy, and I know there's some of you out there who have this. What is someone saying? No wall art is weird. What are you talking about? You're seeing the tiniest little piece of my apartment, and there is a piece of wall art right there. That's my cousin. It's an Eben alien, actually. Um, okay, so people who have this wound of too much and not enough simultaneously. I'm too much. I'm too much. But then at the same time, feeling not enough. How fucked up is that? And this is a very common one. This is a very common subconscious loop that people are stuck in. We don't want to live this way anymore. Okay. Also, what about like bottling up until they explode? This is another like thing of dealing with emotions. Subconscious loop of dealing with emotions, bottling up and then exploding, right? Being triggered by the same things. Okay, like I have a good example about this. And I want to see how much I want to share. But then, I always end up oversharing on this anyway. Okay. Mhm. Um, so, you know, talk about myself. So as a kid, I've talked a lot about like my family dynamic and stuff. And so right now I'm not talking to my brother. And with my brother, he's 1 year younger than me. We have different moms, same dad. And, there was this whole thing. My dad wanted a boy. He got my stepmom pregnant, got a boy. I was disregarded. And I was always kind of like positioned like against my brother. And even though we were like close in age, it was always like, because I'm not a boy, it didn't matter if I was good at stuff, if I was smarter, if I was this, if I was that, if I was this. It was always going to be less than just because he's a man, a boy. This led to a lot of issues with men in my life, played out a lot of different ways. But this also caused like a jealousy wound in me. And sometimes I could be very triggered in this jealousy wound. And it has showed up in other areas of my life. So, then in relationships, sometimes I will get like diabolical, possessed, jealousy, over shit that's not even like I did parts work on it recently, and so many of the things that I brought up, like, when I was doing the parts work, when I looked at it objectively, it is not, like, even the real scenario. Like, I imagined that these people were being chosen over me or were liked over me or were, but I don't have jealousy in, like, other areas of life, which is interesting. So, like, I love my friends succeeding. I love, like, stuff like that. Like, with my friends, I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah. Oh, you booked something? Oh, you just made this money? You're doing this? You got how many followers? You got this?" I'm, like, so excited for people. But in certain situations, so that wound then plays out in other areas. So it was instilled in a family dynamic. But because it had not been healed, it plays out then in a relationship dynamic. When I was younger, it played out in a friend dynamic. So it's like whoever I'm closest to, I can then start to create this dynamic in my mind, even if it's not based in reality. So it's like being triggered by the same things. So sometimes you will see these things show up in other areas of life because it can't show up in that area anymore. I don't talk to my dad. I'm not talking to my brother right now. So it'll show up in another area of life. And it's like these things, when we're getting triggered, this is calling to be looked at. And also, you guys know I have my podcast, Ultra Minds, on YouTube. I'm going to put it on Spotify and stuff like that. This Thursday, I have a really good guest that is talking about this. Her name is Stephanie Shantae Leone. And I talked about her. I met her on the cruise. I did her somatic exercise and the way that she explained somatic work. So at the end of the podcast, we do a somatic exercise together so you can practice that. And she does it for like truth. So, like speaking your truth, living in your truth, a somatic exercise to get you aligned with that. Now, she talks about it in such a beautiful way in that podcast. It's coming out on Thursday. But she says it lives in our body, that wound. So this subconscious loop belief also lives inside of our body and it continues to play out in all areas of our life because it's like imagine your body is like holding that frequency. So then everywhere you go, you're pulling that towards you. So if you have a feeling of too much and not enough, I'm too much, but I'm also not enough. You're going to then your body is vibrating at that in some level, and you're gonna pull those people into your reality. So, that's gonna be so is that the lady from the cruise? Yes, and she is so good. Like, I really loved the stuff that she talked about. She is such a sweet soul, and she shares her own personal story about, like, not wanting to fall in love again after she had her feelings hurt. And that's also, something that I had dealt with as well. And she actually helped me with and helped me break that unconscious belief. And days later, I found my wonderful, amazing partner who I love dearly is the best thing. And is like, I finally feel that in that area of my life that I've been stuck in this loop. And I mean, there's many things, the ayahuasca, the healing, the shadow work, there's many things that over time, but it was really also seeing the wounds and stop looking out and stop blaming. You said somatic work is crazy good. The wound is in your root chakra. Energy vibrations are all part of it. Yeah. So it's like, wherever that wound is, it's like you're pulling it towards you. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about some spiritual uh, beliefs and subconscious loops. Okay. So here's a good one. And some of you, oh, thank you. You said you didn't know I found someone. Congrats. If you don't know the tea, let me just tell you. If you guys are watching the Tuesday Night Live right now and you don't know the tea, you have to go to my YouTube and go to the video that says I've been keeping a secret because the tea is hot. Okay. The tea is hot. The tea is juicy. But we already got into that. That's a long one. And go check it out if you want the tea. Okay. So a spiritual loop. This one is a good one. Maybe some of you are guilty. Jumping from teacher to teacher or jumping from healer to healer. Like there's people who are uh like psychic junkies, right? Where they'll go from like one psychic and then the next psychic until they get the answer that they want and burn themselves out. Like a good example of this is like some people on TikTok were talking about like Sloan Bella is not a real psychic because she tells all of her clients the same thing. And this girl was posting, she's like, I've had so many clients that have come to me after seeing Sloan Bella, and she told them all that their men were like not good for them. And maybe they weren't. What the hell? Because you know what? People want to go to a psychic and they want to hear what they want to hear, you know? And they're going to jump and jump and jump into each psychic until they get the answer that they want. Or sometimes people are jumping from teacher to teacher to teacher because they're disempowering themselves. You guys know I've talked about this when I realized how many bad seeds were in this spiritual community when I started to meet them in real life. And I was like, what do I do with this information? And it said, these people are purposely grifters, phonies, maybe even just innocently wrong or innocently giving false information because their filter sucks or they're overly confident or whatever. But this is the way that people get scammed, grifted, led in the wrong direction, led to things that don't serve them. Those are purposeful to make you go inward because spirituality is within. Sure, it's okay to like consume content, to read a book, to watch something, to listen to something. But at the end of the day, the true wisdom is inside of yourself. And we want these teachers and healers and psychics to be little sparks and reminders of the self rather than tell me who I am, tell me what my past lives are, tell me what I'm meant to do, confirm me, external validation. If you're someone who looks to spiritual teachers to tell you what you're supposed to do, then maybe other areas of your life you seek out external validation. Maybe other areas of your life you look to achieve in an outwardly way. Oh, I'm going to go to this school and this college and learn this so that other people think I'm legit. But then you might then end up in the spiritual spaces doing the same fucking thing. A lot of people who will like say, I'm going to go to medical school because this is a thing that makes me be made taken seriously in life are then going to also probably seek external validation. And not everybody in the medical field, but there's just one example, you know, sometimes it's a field that people sometimes go into that's not actually their passion. And they say, well, this seems like the good thing to do. Oh, thanks, Andrew. So is it bad to want to be alone? Ed, you walk edge hundreds of acres a day just looking for rocks and prospecting. No, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be alone. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be alone. You can, but you have to see what is there. Is there a subconscious belief behind it? Is it enjoying being alone, or being alone is like a part of healing or a part of like what excites you? But if you go a couple steps deeper, do you think, is there somebody out there for me? Or there's nobody out there for me, or nobody will accept me the way I am, or nobody will love me the way I am, or I have to earn this amount of money for someone to care about me or to love me, or I need to look at this or this and this, achieve this for someone. So, I mean, any of these things can be like just the season of life that you're in. We all need seasons of life that we are in hermit mode or alone. Those are very helpful times in life. Like, I'm so grateful for the 3 years of celibacy that I had because I needed that. I would not have been able to like heal and process a lot of things if I had other people coming into my energy and dealing with all of these, like, you know, other dating things, you know? You said, I think everybody seeks validation. The hardest thing is validating ourselves, especially if trauma. Yeah. You know, everybody seeks validation in different ways. Um, and self validation can be really difficult, you know, which is why, you know, a good practice is to think like, go over your achievements, go over your good qualities, take a moment to like say, damn, I've done this. I've experienced this. I've gone to this place. I helped this person. That's not your ego. to acknowledge those things. If you think that's your ego, then you probably have that issue of like too much, not enough, or feeling invisible, or only being valuable if you're helpful, or only being valuable if you're achieving. Yep. The answers come from inside of you. What do you trust more, card readers or mediums? I don't know. It depends. I would only, I mean, I don't really use mediums because I'm not super connected to the dead, but yourself is the best. If something pops up and it's legit to you, then that's right. But also read the cards yourself. If you don't know how to read tarot, get your deck out and use ChatGPT. Tell ChatGPT your whole problem, pull a couple cards and ask it to interpret it for you. You said, I'm broke, so it's just YouTuber after YouTube for you, and some just don't stick. Well, we got the limiting belief there, around the subconscious belief around being broke. Not saying that you're not broke in real life, right? I'm broke right now. I just paid my book editor. I'm broke too. That is in this reality. However, is it connected to my money wounds? Yeah, of living a life of only just getting by. So that is one thing to be honest with ourselves about, but also not to diminish the fact that if there's no money, then there's no money right now. That's reality. But then YouTuber after YouTuber, and some just don't stick, and that's okay too. So jumping from teacher to teacher can be beneficial because you get a little bit of this person, a little bit of this person, but you're using them as a inspiration to spark something inside of you. But at the end, you don't want to disempower yourself and say everything that this person is saying is right and true, and then listen to something even when it doesn't feel right and say, that doesn't really resonate, but I believe that this person isn't lying, so it must be true. That's what I mean about like disempowering yourself with it. How about constantly needing to clear? Oh, I'm clearing my chakras. I'm clearing my chakras all the time. Oh, I'm constantly healing. Now I have this to heal. Now I have this to heal. Now I have this to heal. Oh, thank you. Um, okay. Oh, thanks, guys. You can trust that the universe abhors a vacuum. Money always comes back and then some. Yeah. Oh, hi, Roland. How are you? Um, okay. So, like, what about the people who are like always having to heal? I feel like that sometimes is the therapy loop, right? Sometimes people who do talk therapy is that's kind of sometimes what talk therapy is, right? It's like, let's bring up the trauma. Let's talk about the trauma. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's bring all the trauma to the surface. Now what? And a lot of times these therapists don't know what to do. And, when I was going through my shadow work journey last year, it was bringing up everything like, ugh. I was clawing to live day to day life of all the stuff that I hadn't felt in 35 years that I wasn't allowing myself to feel. I was like, that's fine. Oh, well, people are fucked up. People are assholes. People are this. Oh, yeah, that's life. Oh, well, I'm tough. I can handle it. Thank God that didn't happen to someone else. They might have not been able to handle it, but I can. Oh, good thing it was me and not someone else. Then it all hits me. And I'm like, oh, that was super messed up for a kid to experience, or that was super messed up for a teenager to experience. Damn, I was never sad about that. And this is what happens sometimes with therapy. So, like, it needs to come up. These things need to come up. But then at the same time, is it perpetual that it's coming up forever? And you're always drawing up the trauma and always going back to the sad story and always going back to the traumatic story and to the old event. And then just being, yeah, exactly, Ash, a healing addiction. It's a healing addiction. And sometimes it's like getting addicted to feeling bad. And so then, where do you put it all back? That's what I learned when it came to the shadow work that I did last year. It was like everything came up. I'm like, well, now where do I put it? It's like when you clean your closet out and then you get too exhausted to put everything back in. So now you just have a whole room filled with clothes everywhere. And now you've got distracted and too tired. And now you can't put everything back. And it's like slowly chipping away. And then you're just like living in a mess. That is like the example sometimes when it comes to healing. And it's like, where do we put these things back? Where do they go back to? And some advice for that. What helped me. Thank you, Andrew, again. Ever since Coast to Coast, you're listening. Is that what you first heard me was on Coast to Coast? Um, so one thing that really helped me when I was at that shadow work journey, a good therapist will always take time to integrate. Got to come back to the boat and breathe and refill oxygen tank to scuba dive into the trauma subconscious. True. So when all of this stuff comes up and then you get stuck in the poor me because the whole freaking room is covered with clothes everywhere. All the trauma, all the stuff from your whole life is out there. So then it gets stuck with the poor me narrative and it's hard to get out of that. And then sometimes you feel stuck in the shadow. And sometimes then the shadow needs even more space than it actually did. And it starts to take over the light space. Trisha said, I'm in the heart of my shadow work right now, and I totally feel like crawling to get by. You're so tired. Oh, Trisha, I don't know if you ever watched my videos on YouTube about the shadow work stuff. I've been retitling a lot of my videos and redoing the thumbnails, but I think if you put JK Ultra shadow work, it might come up. But I talk about a lot of my stuff. But one thing that I would say about when you're pulling up all of the trauma and all of the healing and all of the things, how can you put it back? One of the things is parts work. Teal Swan has a great exercise of parts work. Whether you like her or don't, that exercise is fire. Excellent. And that's a good integration and a good way to do it. And I like the method that she uses because she calls forward the part of the self and the shadow part of the self. So you can do both and like really the two aspects of this part of yourself. Another thing that really helped me though to put things back in place was this Romanian woman that my friends, she's kind of like a spiritual guide. She sees a few of my friends and I met her and she kind of was talking about like all of this stuff is like everybody has their own stuff. Like is like, the stuff I was feeling about like my family, my upbringing, my stuff, it's kind of like everyone like has their own lessons to learn. You don't have to feel guilty about like being responsible for anybody else, for anybody else's stuff. And also like let yourself like off the hook. Let yourself off the hook of like, okay, I felt it. You know who else really does like a good thing with that? I didn't give a good description of what the Romanian woman said. The way she said it was already not in great English, and I said it even worse, the translation. But okay, Mami Onami has a book coming out, and the book is called How to Heal Your Fucked Up Childhood Without Therapy. And she talks about how you can trust healing it. And she goes through the chakras, 7 chakras. You go to a core memory wound trauma for each one. And she walks you through it. And you go through the core memory of each one. I'm going to have her on the podcast soon because I want her to talk about it. And then she said what happens is people clear it up and they look at it. But she said, you need to turn around and have it behind you and know that it's behind you. You've done it. You've done the work. It's going to clear. It's going to pass. Oh, she was so professional on Coast to Coast. So proud. Oh, thank you. Just came to the realization recently that victim mindset is just as much ego as if you were to think of great and fine and above others. Yes, I have this written down. Meg is not here tonight, I don't think. I don't see her in the comments, but Meg gave me a quote, and I have it written down here on one of my many papers. Oh dear, where is it? Oh boy. Okay, oh, yeah. Okay, I have it still on my desk. Okay. It's just as egoic to play small as it is to play big. It's just as egoic to play small. Oh, hey, Meg is here. Hi, Meg. um, it's just as egoic to play small as it is to play big. That is so freaking true. Like, and that's, I think, where a lot of people who've been playing small, yes, like it's just as much whether you are the person who thinks you're the best or the person who's like, oh, not me, I'm nothing. It takes just as much energy. So why are you doing it to yourself? Meg dropping some gems. What's the name of the podcast and where can you listen? You've been so busy. Okay, so my podcast is called Ultra Minds, mind, like the brain. And it's on YouTube right now, but I will be getting it on Spotify, Apple, and everything soon. What was the book you just mentioned about messed up childhoods? You don't see it when you Googled it. Okay, so go look for Mommy Onami, Mami, Onami, Onami, Onami. Yeah, Mommy Onami. She has a book coming out in April, so it's coming out next month, and I've heard her talk about it. She's awesome. I love her. She is like that's the type of spiritual teacher I like. That at first she triggered me, and then I was like, oh, actually, you're what I need. You're what I need. And so I love her. Okay. Let's see. Career loops. Like I always have to work harder than other people. I always need to do more than others. Hard work pays off. Okay. What are some things that you could do? Okay. So we have the Substack class. I'm going to get into more of that. Let's come back to the worksheet, right? We've gone through the first question for a really long time here. Okay, integration practice. So this is the free worksheet. It's on the Substack, which is linked below. And also, if you go to the link in my profile, it's linked there as well on TikTok. This is the free one. This is one for you to kind of do yourself. But March 30th, this coming Sunday, we're doing a class on it and we're going to do a group hypnosis to get to the root of it. And then you'll have the recording. So if you want to pick you want to do one this live or on the replay, then you can go back and do it again with another limiting belief and just skip to the hypnosis and just do that. Okay, so for the next week, from now until Sunday, every time you notice an old pattern, pause and ask, what's a new response that I can choose here? So let's say the thing doesn't work. Let's see, let's pick one. It's like, let's say the too much, not enough. No. Let's do the feeling invisible, right? Someone who feels invisible, someone who feels overlooked. And how about you go out in the world and start to notice, is there something that is triggering this? And how can I do something different? So like, what can I do different? Can I speak to someone while I'm out, right? If you're someone who feels like invisible and overlooked, maybe when you go to the grocery store, spark up a conversation with someone. And who cares if they're a little bit weird? Do some rejection therapy. It'll get easier. So what is a new thing that I can do? Like, say for me, one of the things that I called myself out about was starting projects and not finishing them. Okay, so for the next week, maybe I can take steps towards finishing some things, right? And this is like, we could do the hypnosis is beautiful to find origin, to bring up things, to reprogram. But doing the action is always the most effective way. I always talk about this. If you want a quantum jump, make a big decision, change something in your life. Okay, let's do a visualization exercise. Close your eyes and visualize the highest self breaking free from the old pattern. What does it feel like? Okay, so we're going to do a more in-depth one in the class. But if you were to just for a moment, just visual, like say for myself, the example that I gave that I have trouble finishing projects. So it's as simple as seeing myself finishing the editing, saying complete, save, close the computer, right? I could see myself uh finishing, say, like the example of like the closet, bringing everything out the closet and then not having the energy to put it back. See yourself finishing it. See yourself doing that. Like, what if it's like a subconscious belief around dating people that are emotionally unavailable or that will cheat or that this or that or all these other bad relationship things? See yourself with a loving partner. See yourself with an amazing person who acknowledges you and loves you the way you are. It's that simple. Like, just start to give your mind the fuel to know that that's the reality. Okay. So let's pull up. We'll stop sharing that. Let's pull up. Okay. All right. So here's my Substack. I'm going to be retitling it from Web of Theories because I'm doing this thing, Soul Architecture. So that's what the 10-month program is. It's called Soul Architecture. And, so this is where the free worksheet is. If you go to jennifercarmody.substack.com, let me make sure this is up on the screen. Okay. Let's put it as the full screen. And I'm going to give you guys a little tour of the Substack. So this is where you get this newest one is then here where you can download that worksheet. Okay, so then here's where all like the posts are. So if you come down here, the monthly masterclass. So see all. And then this is where you can go back and see the replays of all the other ones. So if you want to do this next 10-month program, it's $11 a month for the Substack to be a member. That supports me, allows me to continue doing the work that I do. But you get like such a great value because you come back to, here's the last meditation we did, which is where you enter the void. So we went to the abyss, to the void, and then from there retrieved some information. Breaking free from procrastination. So this, we did a whole discussion around procrastination, and then we do a hypnosis to overcome the procrastination. And you can always come back to these and redo them as many times as you want. This manifestation exercise, this one is a free one. So for all the subscribers, so everybody can be a free subscriber. There's free content and there's going to be the free worksheets all the time. There is some free meditations on here. Become a free subscriber. And then if you want, eventually upgrade your membership, or don't upgrade your membership and just use it as like my newsletter. Okay. So this one is great. This is the 3 most important questions. This is the 3 most important questions is what this manifestation technique is called. This is what changed my life. Everything that I wrote down on my 3 most important questions became my life, because the questions aren't, what do you see yourself doing? I wouldn't have written down, I wanted to become a TikToker and doing social media and stuff. But what I wrote was, I want to teach people about 5D. I want to teach people about the new earth. I want to teach people about the apocalypse. Like, I wrote down a whole bunch of crazy shit. And then what happened? I went super viral and got 500,000 followers on TikTok, like in like less than 3 months or whatever. And then all of those things that I wrote down came true. So if you guys on TikTok who can't see the screen, go to the Substack and it says monthly masterclass and it says the manifestation exercise that changed my life, free for you. 2025, these are worksheets for manifesting the year. It's really just starting the year, right? Because spring is actually the beginning of the year. So you can go back and do those. Let's see, recording, activating your creative power. This was a hypnosis for stepping in and doing your actual creative things, some creative project that you've been wanting to work on. This is a motivation to do it. And you can always come back to the hypnosis whenever you need it. The inner child healing, inner teen. So I have one that is in the previous, you can find down. If you scroll down, there's an inner child meditation / hypnosis. But I also did an inner teenage healing. Let's look at that, right? Because the thing with the inner teen is inner child represents your early child experiences, being vulnerable, being open. So like the traits of the inner child, it's vulnerable, it's open, it's receptive. The inner teenager is combative, is not that open, not that vulnerable. It's rebellious. It's usually pissed off, and then, so like the inner child is seeking safety, comfort, unconditional love. The inner teenager is seeking autonomy, self-expression, validation. These are different parts of ourselves that need attention. The healing focus with the inner child work is to be nurturing, to affirm it, to create a sense of security. The inner teenager wants to safely express emotions. It wants acceptance. It wants guidance without judgment. So that is a hypnosis for the inner teenager. You can always go back to those. We did this parts work. This one was when I didn't do a hypnosis this month because I was in a rough place. I had just come back from the ayahuasca. So I talk about the parts work, but that one, honestly, just do teal swans. I'm honest with you. Okay. The new you blueprint. This one was a hypnosis similar to what the soul architecture 10-month thing that we're doing is, but all like kind of one thing. Okay. Your soul's purpose. We did a hypnosis to find out what your purpose is. We did a hypnosis to heal your health. We did like a healing vortex to focus on different parts of the body and to heal them. The connect with your spirit guides. This one actually uses Dolores Cannon's hypnosis technique, and I'll probably end up using that again because she has group techniques as well. So that's her spirit guide one. We have also um, confidence boosting. Yeah. Okay. Inner child healing. That one is free for everybody if you find the inner child one. We did a past and a future life hypnosis. So we used Dolores Cannon's method to pull up a past life and to pull up a future life. We have also this one that is blowing roses, which is breaking cycles. And then we also have a future self meditation. So there's literally over a year's worth if you join. And then we're going to be doing something every month. And then let me tell you guys where are you? Okay, we're back. Don't forget to like the live. You loved the inner teen one. It's a part of us that isn't thought about. Yeah. Do a mental rage room and rage out with your inner teen. I don't think we did the rage out. I don't think we did a rage out. Um, Aw, thanks, Meg. I know. I honestly never talk about the stuff that I do. That's one of the things. I don't promote myself enough of what I'm actually doing and what I'm actually working on and what I'm actually offering. Um, oh, thank you. Right. Beautiful. Okay. So, let's see. Join the Substack. You'll love it. Thanks, Haley. You said you're barely starting this or it's been going. So I've been doing the Substack for over a year already. So there's already over a year of hypnosises. So there's already, I don't know how many we just went through. There's like 12 to 15 of them. But the next 10 months, because every last Sunday of the month, we do another one, a group hypnosis. And people really enjoy the group hypnosis. But now what we're doing, now let me pull this up too. Let me pull up what the soul architecture class is. Okay. Okay. So this happens in 4 stages. So it's going to be the next 10 months. So it's from this March to December. So this one is the life reset. So this one is we're going to be breaking cycles. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. Having a technical difficulty here. Oh, okay. Okay, so the first one, yeah, I'm here. Okay, so the first one, March, is the life reset. So this one is like identifying these patterns. All of this stuff that we just talked about, we're talking about that, and we're going to do a hypnosis to identify one or a couple of them, and then you can always go back and go and do that hypnosis as many times as you want. April, so that's stage 1. Stage 1 is like clearing the blocks, which is going to be March, April. April is the upgrade. So this is like the self upgrade, redesigning who you are. So the whole concept is soul architecture. So it's all around like looking at yourself as like the architect of your life, and your soul is the architect of your life. Okay? Like instead of allowing the lower self to run the show, it's the soul needs to run the show, but we need to know what the lower self is holding on to. So that's why we do first, we're going to do the breaking the cycles and the patterns. Then we're going to do a self upgrade. So we're going to start working on the identity, the self image, installing new self concepts. Then stage 2, rewiring and activating. That's May and June. So May, we're going to master your mind. So this is like, okay, inner dialogue. This is where we're going to talk about reprogramming patterns, activating new beliefs. And we're going to work on like, what are these most important beliefs? Who are you talking about that you're doing this with, please? This is for my Substack. So my Substack is my membership platform that I've had for over a year. I just never really talk about it. Okay. the CAPTCHA. I have to do the CAPTCHA. I got it right on the first try. Okay, June, we're going to do the manifestation blueprint. So then after we get those new beliefs, those new things, what are we really calling in? Okay, what is that highest timeline? Stage 3. We're going to do the deep healing, the spiritual alignment. So that's 3 months. That's the whole summer. So that's July, August, September. And these are once a month. And then each of these will have a free worksheet. So if you guys don't join for the paid, then get the free worksheet. And then we talk about it on the Tuesday Night Live before. And then, if you want to, then you upgrade and do the hypnosis together. So, July, the restoration plan. This is healing and aligning your inner state. So, this is going to be emotional imprints, regulating the nervous system, restoring the balance. So, we're going to do hypnosis around that area. You said, what's the name of the Substack? You can't find it. So, if you go to the link in my bio, it will say like exclusive content, join exclusive content. And so, everybody can become a subscriber for free, and it sends you an email whenever I have like news and updates and stuff like that. And then the paid subscribers get access to the Zoom link to come to the live events. Okay, August, the body code. So like this is now we're doing the healing. So okay, emotional healing, the emotional body. Then we're doing hypnosis for the physical body, activating the cellular healing. This is going to be similar to the healing vortex that we did, but we're going to go more to the cellular level and focus on that. And then September, your Akashic design, rewriting soul contracts and karmic patterns. So this is clearing the karmic loops, soul level stuff, aligning with the true path. So this is going to be, we're going to talk about like what are the patterns? What are the karmic patterns? What are those things? So this is like we're dealing with the physical body, the emotional body, and then this kind of like soul karmic stuff. Then stage 4, October, November, December for fall and winter. This is the embodiment. This is the mastery. So October, the sovereign self, the blueprint for owning your power. This is where we're claiming energetic boundaries, stepping into sovereignty, and we're working each month on these things. They're building on each other. November, the quantum master plan, merging with the future you. So we're going to do another future you hypnosis, but we're doing it in a new self. So we have become a future self. Now we're going to do it from there. So by November, our future self meditation is going to be mirroring something different to us than if we do it now or if you go and do the replay. But go and do the replay of the future you because, see where you're at right now. And then December, we do the 2026 blueprint, designing a year that aligns with your destiny. So then we're going to do similar to what we did at the end of 2025, where we're going to do all of the, manifestations for different areas of life. What do you see yourself doing in these other areas of life? So where are we? Okay. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. You guys get to support my work, which is great, right? And we get to do like the group hypnosis together, which is nice, especially if like you want to do individual hypnosis, but like you feel like you're not sure if you can go under or whatever, then let's you could do that progressively. And like this is the soul architecture. This is like the soul leading the way. So, but what we could do, where can we find everything that you just showed on Substack? So if you go to Substack, let me show you guys again. Oops. If you guys go to my Substack, which is jennifercarmody.substack.com, and it's also linked. I'm going to show you around. Okay, so this is like the main homepage. And if you scroll down to monthly masterclass and hit see all, that's where you're going to find all of the previous recordings for the last. Some of them are notifications about recordings, and some of them are the recordings themselves. I'll have to clean that up. Now, if you come here and you go to JK Ultra Unplugged, this is the juicy stuff here, okay? I never ended up finishing this series, but this is very juicy, okay? The I Faced My Own Demons is the whole super dark shadow work journey. I've talked about it a lot, but if you want to read it, very scorpionic. Okay, so I have Blueprints and Fate. So this is actually kind of Yeah, this is my life story. Yeah, and about my spiritual journey. So this is like so there is some personal stuff on here. I kind of moved away from the personal stuff because I'm working on the book and it just is too much to do both. So I kind of more focused just on the hypnosis and, healing. But this is like my story. This is like the 2013. This is when I did the podcast and I did a ritual under the blood moon and my podcast my old podcast in 2014 went to like the top. It was like right under Joe Rogan. Because I did a ritual. But then a bunch of bad stuff started happening to me. And then I had my Saturn return. Yeah. Then had relationships problems. Yeah. Then my healing, my activation that I had in Mount Shasta, which was insane. So this is like the whole Mount Shasta story. Yeah. This is how my ex-boyfriend became a healer. And then yeah. Then we did the whole activation, the Arcturian Reiki activation, that freaking, I don't know. You could say it and what I say here is I don't know. I don't know what the truth is. I don't know if it gave me the life I wanted or if it destroyed the life that I had or if both of those things are true, but that happened. Um, then, yeah, this was super messed up. This is then when my ex-boyfriend became possessed. Mhm. And then this is the next one, part 2 is the possession story, which is super dark and scary and people, read with caution because that was, yeah, that was super messed up. Yeah. This is then when he realized he was possessed. Yeah, that was all crazy. The alien Reiki stuff, yeah. And then which one is this? Yeah, okay, this continues. Then this is how then I started, yeah, more messed up stuff that happened leading up to the whole birth of JK Ultra, which I never actually got to that part. I will continue this. Um, yeah, this is my first video, and then it went viral, and then the John Bonet series. Yeah. So there's also some personal stuff on there too. So if you go to jkultra.substack.com, it says Web of Theories now. I'm actually going to change it and like make it more tailored to the soul architecture stuff. Ooh, yeah. Who said that? Stage 5 integration. Hell yeah, Ash. Hell yeah. You always have great stuff to say. Um, he said, remember on the I've kept a secret video, you talk about sitting in this aspect with this aspect exercise and interested. Are you putting it on Substack? So the exercise that I did, that Stephanie did, um, about sitting with stuff, I believe is the one that we're talking about. She actually is going to do it on the podcast on Thursday. So she does a podcast, but hers is about truth because I asked her to do like what she felt called to do at that moment and allowed her like tap into her intuition of what was the best for the people listening at that time. So she does that somatic exercise at the end of the podcast. So the podcast is probably like 20 minutes longer than the other ones because she does the whole somatic exercise. So that one's going to be for free on the Substack this Thursday. I mean, on the YouTube this Thursday because Stephanie does it herself. Um, yeah. Oh, sitting with the different aspects of yourself, like the parts work. Yeah, so the somatic exercise, she's gonna guide through. And then also, if you wanna do, like, parts work, like I was talking about, look up the Teal Swan parts work video. You said, "Do you ever go over Ashayana Dean's work or do a video about those teachings?" To be honest, everything in me says absolutely the fuck not about Ashayana Dean. I'm sorry. She's so off to me. Listen, we're gonna end this on a shit talking note, okay? No, because Ashayana Dean's teachings to me are so going through a negative filter. Like, say, for example, someone like David Icke. I love David Icke because he's like a conspiracy grandfather. But his filter is so dark and negative that, like, when you listen to someone like David Icke, you have to realize, like, it's going through a shit filter, right? It's like it has to filter through the garbage first. And I find it entertaining. I enjoy watching it. But with Ashayana Dean, I feel like her teachings are going through like a similar negative filter. And it's also interesting that she talks about like, oh, everybody else is like doing this and I'm the only one that has that. And I'm like, well, that's actually kind of how I use my discernment is I like to read what everybody says. I like to watch what everybody says. I like to read all the books. I like to listen to, I don't really listen to channelers that much anymore. But I used to like be addicted to listening to channeling. I used to consume so much of it. And, I read all the Dolores Cannon books. So then all the subconscious mind hypnosis stuff. And then I read all the hypnosis books and all the different people, Dr. Michael Newton, Brian Weiss, Helen Wambach. Like, I did all of that and I consumed all of that. And in the end, kind of the thing that shows up in everybody's work and the thing that is consistent is what I believe to be closest to the truth. And Ashayana Dean, like, it's a little bit off. It's like a little bit off from what everybody else is saying. Like that base information is just a little bit off. So I don't resonate with her. I watched a lot. I watched over 6 hours of her lectures online. I tried. She said a couple things that I thought were, like, interesting, but, she thinks the bad guys are so bad and the inverted matrix stuff. The inverted matrix stuff, I'm like, even if there is an inverted matrix, what the fuck does it matter to us? We live in this matrix. We're worried about another matrix? Who gives a shit? If it even exists. You said you realized that last year listening to her, it felt like she was scolding people when she would talk. Yeah. You said David Icke makes you gasp sometimes with the no filter. It's true. Oh, beautiful. You're a holistic trauma therapy specialist that needs out in plant medicine and quantum science and ancient philosophy. We have a lot in common, overlaps our perspectives. Beautiful. You said we need part 4. Yeah, we do need part 4. I'm gonna go back and do it actually. Um, let's see. Okay. She had so much fear and acted like the only teachings are hers. Yeah. Whenever somebody acts like they're the only one that is right, that is like a major red flag, right? You know? I mean, I know I'm a know-it-all, but I also am constantly sourcing everyone, you know? So even though like my personality is like geared to be a know-it-all, um, mostly the stuff I'm talking about is because all of these other experts have already said it and I've collected it from all of the experts, you know? How do we get to the Medium link? So it's a Substack. So it's jennifercarmody.substack.com. And on the YouTube, if you click on the details of the video, it's in the details of the video. And like I said, you can sign up to be a free subscriber and then later on update and become a paid subscriber, or never become a paid subscriber and just be a free subscriber, which means that you'll get a couple of emails from me throughout the month. I don't go crazy. You said something about Bashar gives you a vibe, gives an off vibe. You're alone in thinking that way, though. Oh, no. You're not alone in thinking that way. Literally, the whole live chat every Tuesday thinks that way. You know, like I said, I didn't like Bashar, but I saw him live in Sedona and it was a good time. So I went softer on Bashar after that because I was like, you know what? That shit was funny. I enjoyed it. It was like a comedy show. And you know what? When I see it in person, do I think he's telling I don't think I think that all channelers will eventually lose their channel over time, or most channelers, maybe not all. I don't wanna say all, but most channelers will lose their connection over time because I think it's natural. I think there's seasons of life, which is why I don't mind if somebody is channeling and then starts doing other types of teachings and starts maybe talking from themselves instead of always talking through a being, like those type of things I actually think is better. Respect that, you know? Yeah, a bunch of people, everybody's saying not alone on Bashar. You said you want to see Bashar in person eventually and meet him or see his ship. Um, yeah. Like, but it is funny. Like, I used to really get bothered by the fact that Bashar is like super rude to people. But then when I was live, I was like, tell him, ha 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 ha." Like, I was like, a peasant in the Colosseum. Like, "Get him! Yeah, scold him!" To make him look stupid in front of everybody. So I was sucked into it. I was, I was a peasant in the Colosseum cheering for a lion to eat somebody. Like, that was me. So I gotta say, I'll put some respect on it. That shit is entertaining. That was fun. Okay, I had a great time. I was laughing my ass off the whole freaking time. I was like, "Get him, Bashar!" Haha. Yeah, with the popcorn, exactly. So, I'll put the respect on it. Um, and yeah, a better way of putting it. People change their frequency over time, and you lose the channel frequency connection over time. Yeah, um, that's a beautiful way of putting it. Um, are you gonna get your own show on Gaia? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think Gaia wants somebody like me. I'm gonna be honest with you. It used to hurt my feelings a little, but now I'm like, I don't give a shit. I I'm like, you know what? I'm keeping building all of my own stuff, you know? You said you're yet to find one single person that can respond the way he does that is not human. I don't know what you mean by that. You've always felt connected to Bashar's answers and teachings. Not a diehard fan. Most are, but I appreciate it. He said Gaia needs my spice. Yeah, I uh I gotta say, it was very entertaining. But a lot of times, like at these live events with Bashar, everybody asks personal questions. So it's like they're not even answers that like anybody can connect with, in my opinion. Cause everybody's like, do I have an alien implant? Do I have hybrid children? And so his answer is, how could we know? I actually, think that people shouldn't be allowed to ask personal questions at events like that. Yeah, there we go. This is the JK Ultra show. Oh, thank you. You know who needs a show on Gaia? Sarah Brexman Cosme. Do I trust Ouija boards? I don't know. I used one when I was a kid, and my grandmother pulled it away from me and said never to use it, and I never touched one again. Yeah, it could be a blessing in disguise. Exactly. I am so over, that he answers and he articulates a response in a non-human way. Mm, yeah, but also a human can do that, you know? Um, I don't know what I believe because I saw Bashar live, and then I saw Daryl Anka live, and these are different people. So I didn't really believe Bashar, but I had a good time. When I saw Daryl, I did actually believe Bashar more because when I saw Daryl for, I don't know, a 2-hour thing, Daryl's too nice. I wanted Bashar to come out. I was like, "Bashar, come out and show them. Come out and show them." So, like, Daryl is, like, way too nice compared to Bashar. So it really made me, like, believe it even harder because I was like, "No, Bashar would have put this person in their place. Daryl's too freaking nice." You said you haven't seen someone do it to his level. Yeah, I mean, I feel like all channelers sound like him, right? You know who's a great channeler? Tony Ghazi. Go watch him on my podcast. He channels the mantis beings. So if you haven't watched, you gotta watch Tony. Tony Ghazi. Beautiful, beautiful mantis channeling on Ultraminds podcast. What do we think about Abraham Hicks? I never got into Abraham Hicks. Do you think yoga connects you to the astral beings? Your Christian friend says it's attracted demons. Oh gosh, no. Yoga is like moving your body, you know? Sacred geometry for your body. It's not connected to demons. You know what? A lot of times Christian stuff doesn't want you, not all, and this is not all Christians, but some of those like very strict teachings don't want people to become empowered in their body. The thought of a mantis being terrifies you. Oh, they're so cute. I love them. Let's see. Come on down. Exactly. Advice on how to start astral projecting. Um, there's so many techniques. Just start practicing. Just look up different astral projection techniques. There's so many. Or just probably the easiest one is you start with visualization. You're laying down and see yourself visually, your astral body. So lay down on the bed, close your eyes, and see yourself, visualize yourself in that room, in that moment, everything identical, yourself on the bed, everything 100% the same as it is in the physical at that very moment, but with your eyes closed. Take a moment to really take that in. And then imagine, visualization. These are two sides of the same coin. This is the feminine and masculine, the action and the reception of the same thing. So it doesn't matter if you're imagining or visualizing, it will guide you to the right part of the brain to allow it to happen. So just imagine or visualize. You're laying down, you're seeing yourself, everything 100% exactly the way it is in real life. And then see your astral body sit up while your physical body stays laying down and stand up and remove itself from the body. See the silver cord connected to you, physical, and then see yourself. This is a method that I kind of merged a bunch of different methods together because it was easier than the other ones. So visualize yourself sitting up, visualize yourself getting up, standing up, walk out the door, walk out of your house. I live in an apartment building, so I saw myself walking up the stairs and walking up the stairs, and then I saw myself go through the roof, but the stairs kept going, and I kept seeing myself go upstairs again and again and again, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of flights of stairs until I finally reached a point that I felt like I, like, broke through something, and then after I went through something, I kind of felt like I went through a portal, and I talk about this on my astral projection video. It's like one of my first videos on YouTube. But then after that, you're on your own. You know what else I did during that? I listened to shamanic drumming. So if you look up shamanic drumming and listen to that, the drumming, the consistency is really good for something like that versus like frequencies. Frequencies are good. Um, but I feel like the frequencies go more into like the subconscious. The shamanic drumming, like it keeps this pace. And then it's weird when I've done it, then it feels like wow, why is this popping up on my screen? Oh my God, why are things popping up everywhere? The fuck? So the drumming, I feel like eventually I couldn't hear it anymore. And then I fell asleep. So I didn't make it all the way. I astral projected and then I only got so far. And then I woke up because I passed out. Sometimes you can see your room with light so clearly, even though your eyes are closed in a dark room. You might be seeing with your eyes closed, like your third eye is still seeing. If you like shamanic drumming, you'd love I don't know how to say that. It's polyrhythmic and comes from iboga. Oh, cool. I do want to check that out because, I love the medicine music. Ooh, would I ever do a deep dive into different religions, interested in the Christian conversation happening? I've done this actually. If you look on my Tuesday Night Live and put JK Ultra, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, I do a breakdown of the three major religions and compare them. I love how motivated and independent you are. That's right. You don't need them. You rock. Thanks, Veronica. Fuck yeah. Have you heard of Robert Edward Grant? Of course, I know Robert Edward Grant. He's a mathematician who gets sacred geometry. Yeah, I know Robert. I should have him on my podcast. Uh, happens whenever you do breath work, but you get scared and leave your body. Oh, well, that's okay. But sometimes those things, getting scared, are like breaking through levels. So you have to get through those levels to let your mind know that you're comfortable going through. But it's okay if you get no. He didn't pass away. That's crazy. Oh, you've been following since the Earth Shift series. Hmm. You always get scared where you hear whooshing sounds in your ears. What healing technique do you use most now on yourself? I don't do any healing techniques on myself, to be honest with you. Um, I don't do anything. I just live. I just live. I meditate. I try to do, you know what? Where's my thing? Do I have one here? I don't think so. What I like to do sometimes, which I'm not doing now, is like a little checklist. The best healing you can do is always in the physical, right? I mean, yeah, you can visualize stuff and hypnosis, these things are things, but really you want results, do your breath work, do your meditation, dress the part, get up and get dressed and look nice, stretch, go to the gym, read 10 pages of a book, say your affirmations, visualize something, like actually do some tasks. So if you have like 5 things and you do them every day for 7 days, you just like shifted your reality. And if you could do it, I did it for a few months before my TikTok stuff blew up. That was the most consistent I ever did. I did 6 months of almost every day. I think I still have all my check sheets from there. And that was like my whole entire life changed. And then I didn't have the energy to do it again, but I want to. Sometimes I get like halfway through a month. But yeah, that would be my suggestion. You call Tuesday your favorite day of the week because of this live. Hell yeah. You just wake up and believe you're healed. I agree. Uh, yeah. Happy Tuesday Night Live, everybody. Okay. Well, I think we'll end there. Well, thank you, everybody. Oh, we went longer today. So thanks everybody for being here for this Tuesday Night Live. Consider joining the Substack where we'll do a hypnosis about this. If you don't join, you could, like I said, you could join as a free subscriber or just think about the stuff we talked about in the worksheet. Where in the worksheet we said now for the next week, like these things that like were triggered by all of these examples that I've given you, like think about for the next week, like how does that show up in my life? Where am I doing this? Where am I playing small? Where am I believing I'm not ready? Where am I believing that I don't finish things? Where am I learning but not applying? Where am I seeking external validation? Where do I believe things aren't working out for me? When am I second guessing myself? When am I overthinking? When am I people pleasing? When am I being the victim? When do I think I need to be helpful in order to be loved or I need to achieve in order to be valuable? Start to notice these things. This is the most important thing. Who's the podcast guest? So it's Stephanie Chante Leong, and she was from the cruise, and she did the somatic exercise about the one she did on the cruise is not the one we do in the podcast because I asked her to tap in and to do what the collective of the podcast needed because that morning the somatic exercise that she did was the one that I needed. So I wanted her to tap into that same energy of tap into what is needed. I'm not going to ask you what to work on because that day when you decided to do this lecture and somatic exercise and she changed when we'll talk about it on the podcast, you'll see, but she ended up picking a completely different topic than what her lecture was about that morning. And I feel like it was for me because my soulmate was in the room. He was literally there in the room, but I hadn't seen him yet. He was sitting on the other side. So I needed to heal desperately this thing around love. And she felt called to do a thing about never falling in love again and like having the bravery to fall in love again. And that somatic exercise was the beginning of that healing for me so that I could be ready by the end of the cruise to finally be enough to feel worthy. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Frida. The Giza discovery is cool. Yeah, I still need to. As a paid subscriber, I will tell you the energy you feel after the workshop is extremely uplifting. Oh, thanks, Haley. Yes, can't wait to watch the next episode of Ultra Minds. So at the end of that episode, she does the somatic exercise around truth, and it's so beautiful. So it's like speaking your own truth, walking in your truth. You met your soulmate on a cruise too. Oh my God. That's awesome. There is something. Oh my God, the love boat. Okay, last thing, and then we will leave. On the ayahuasca in Rhythmia, I might have told you guys this when in the long series because it's like freaking like 6 hours long. But one of the women that was in my group in the ayahuasca ceremony, and she was like a badass. She was drinking like 4 or 5 cups a night. And the next day after one of the ceremonies, she said, "You know, last night I saw you and there was a love boat. There was 2 love boats going towards you, and it's so crazy that she said there was love boats going towards me, and I'm like the show?" She's like, "Yeah, like the show. There was 2 love boats going towards you." And little did I know that, like, whatever, a year and a half later, that it would be a love boat. I would get that love boat. So, yeah. So you never know. Sometimes, like, these little things are getting peppered into your life. And, yeah. Okay. Connecting over the ocean. I love it. And like I said, I think I said it in that video that, it was on his Venus line and my soulmate line. Or I might have said that in the astrocartography podcast episode. So also, if you guys haven't listened to the astrocartography, the most recent one that just came out last week, listen to that episode because it tells you the best lines for your success, the best lines for love, the best lines for expansion, the best lines for like how long to stay on certain lines, the good and bad things. So like using your astrology to find out what is your best places to live. Do I have a boyfriend? Yes, I do. And, okay. I'm gonna leave you guys on this, but I'm getting married. Okay, everybody. See you guys next week. Anyway, uh, goodbye all. Love you guys.